Hello, I'm horror cartoonist Dennis St. John. I draw monsters and write twisted tales. As you can imagine, I was a little obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Lucky for me, so were most of my high school friends, all except one. One friend who stubbornly refused to join the Scoobies. So here we all are, 20-some-odd years later. I'm teaming up with Doc Travis, John, Teach Landis, and maybe a special guest or two, and we're going to make our friend, Michael Poley, watch one episode of Buffy a week until he's no longer the Buffy Virgin. Welcome to Buffy Virgin, a spoiler-free Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. We're staying dry and watching Season 6, Episode 4, Flooded. I am your host, cartoonist Dennis St. John. We have with us this week special guest returning, David, the awesome Yoder.
Yeah, 2 times in a row. Are you guys sick of me yet?
No, we love you.
I wasn't talking to you, maybe the listeners.
Listeners, let us know. Are you tired of David Yoder?
That sounds like a good Twitter poll.
I could take enough of. I can't get enough of these 4 nerds, but this 5th nerd.
Speaking of you four nerds, why don't the rest of you guys introduce yourselves from highest to lowest elevation from sea level right now?
My name's John. I think I'm pretty high elevation. I'm in the 3rd floor of a Victorian home that is up on a hill. So that's pretty high. Anyway, my name's John. That's where I am, up here in the servants' quarters.
My name is Michael. I've only seen Buffy up to Season 6, Episode 4, and I am on the 3rd floor of a townhome, modern townhome, not Victorian.
My name is Travis, and I'm on the 2nd floor of a regular modern house.
In prep for this, I looked up the elevations of the towns that y'all live in.
Oh.
And John, London is, because I don't know any more details than London for you,
That's all you
36 feet elevation. Vancouver, Washington, 171 feet elevation. Portland, Oregon, 50 feet elevation. Bloomington, Indiana, 771 feet elevation.
Wow, David.
But it feels so flat for the most part.
You're looking down on all of us.
That's why they call it the flyover states, because you have to get up really high to get over.
I can't drive over. Too tall. All right. So before we get into Flooded, we're going to do reactions to Season 5, Episode 19, Tough Love. John, why don't you read Anonymouse's?
Anonymous says, I do listen to you the whole way through, but I have you minimized when I'm on YouTube. Not that I don't enjoy your faces. It's just that I started off listening to your podcast and imagine you guys looking different. I get cognitive dissonance when I see your real faces, like a book to movie adaptation.
It's amazing. I really want to know what he thinks. What was the picture in his head?
Yeah.
So
you think
are we
we're handsomer in the imagination?
The question is, are we like a made-for-TV adaptation, or are we like the theatrical release adaptation of a book, or are we like the fan-made movie off the book?
I can kind of relate to Anonymous. I would listen to the Simpsons commentary tracks, and there was the 2 showrunners, Al Jean and Mike Reese, and visually, then when I saw them talk, I kind of flipped, the one talking, I imagine is what the other one should have looked like. I don't know. It was a weird thing. So I can understand.
Travis, can you read Ren Naz's comment?
Yeah. Ren Naz writes to us and says, I just want to say, in reference to comments read on Tough Love about meaningful critique of the male characters, it is one of my favorite things about your podcast. It is so refreshing and heartening to hear these perspectives reflected in male voices. Thank you. You're welcome. We're happy about that. Also, to clarify, I wasn't upset or bothered by your outrage and intervention, just reflecting on why it sadly is all too familiar for many of us.
Thank you. I just I always appreciate Ren Naz's comments. So thanks for those. All right. Why don't we get into Flooded, and we'll start with a summary for what happened this episode.
The summary.
Hey, it's David Yoder here. I don't actually have a summary for you guys, but I did find these commercials that happened to air during this episode, so check those out.
Oh, did you know this place was flooded?
Sometimes your plumbing and heating problems are more than plumbing and heating problems, like expertise.
Want me to call a plumber?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Got the number.
Just call
Tito the Amazing, plumber extraordinaire.
for licensed plumbing and heating technicians who are trained at our one-of-a-kind training facility. Expertise, problem solved. Just call
Tito the Amazing, plumber extraordinaire.
Okay, so you're telling me I'm broke? See, this house, just sitting here, doing nothing, by itself costs money.
So what do we do?
So you need the money. So did I. Then I had a great idea.
I know how. If you want to pay every bill here, start charging. For what? Slaying vampires. I mean, you're providing a valuable service to the whole community. I say cash in. Now, I'm not saying I'm charging you for saving your life or anything, but let's talk rates.
I need the money. That's right. Sisters.
Donnie, you're not eating breakfast.
Dawn, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
You ever try mixing parts of every cereal you got in one bowl?
8 different cereals, 10 individual servings. Sweetened and unsweetened cereals a family with children wants.
The most important meal of the day. It's unbelievably important. You should eat breakfast at least 3 times a day.
Choose Request Pack. Your best choice either way.
Kellogg's Best Cereal.
A personal loan is a great place to start. Just talk to our loan specialists.
Carl Savitsky, loan officer.
Buffy Summers, loan applier 4.
You can get up to $35,000, and you don't have to borrow against your home.
This is my first big loan. Collateral? No problem. No problem.
Get your money fast. It's an easy way to cover the expenses you know are coming.
No payments till 2000 and infinity.
Man, this is perfect. Great. Well, you get a geek, so take your pick.
Between the 3 of us, we can pretty much do anything.
Like if you want a spell to make you look super cool to the other demons.
Or just throwing it out there, robot girlfriend.
I trained flying demon monkeys to attack the school play. School play, dude.
Look at all these fabulous geeks. There's so many.
Truly, Lord Jonathan is the wisest of us all. Yeah, long live our noble lord and master.
Dude, don't be a geek.
All right, let's do great lines.
Great lines.
Well, this episode, Giles comes back and he has a great line. Well, I know I'm back in America now. I've been knocked unconscious. Solid Giles accent there, obviously.
Sounds just like him.
I like two of Willow's lines. When she's talking with Giles towards the end, she says, "I'm not a bad guy. I brought Buffy back into this world, and maybe the word you should be looking for is congratulations," when Giles is like yelling at her and calling her a rank amateur and saying she's using powerful magics. And then she says, "You're right. The magics I used are very powerful, and I am very powerful. Maybe it's not such a good idea to piss me off." And I was like, ooh, yes, I'm here for angry, fierce Willow. And Giles sucks.
I feel like we're maybe going to have some diverse opinions about Giles and Willow in this episode.
Yeah.
All right. My quote comes from Warren, and it's, "Truly, Lord Jonathan is the wisest of us all." And can't believe that quote made it past the censors. You know, it's pretty...
Thank you for that, Yoder. Tiny King. I chose from Buffy from the beginning. You should eat breakfast at least 3 times a day. Good, total zoned out, like nonsense talk. And from the middle of like Anya and Xander fighting, Anya yelling, "Why don't you ask your best friend Spider-Man?" So funny.
I liked Anya talking to Xander and saying, "Captain Logic isn't driving this tugboat. I smell Captain Fear at the wheel." She's right. Also, I like the idea that the conversation is a tugboat. Doesn't have to be a tugboat. Could be any kind of boat, but it's a tugboat.
Yeah, what are they hauling? Deep stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, just the stuff they can't talk about, but yeah. Their engagement or whatever, yeah.
Personal issues, yeah.
So before we jump into weird notices and trivia, I will do the kill count.
The kill count.
We got one demon who's beaten to death and then drowned. One house is smashed, but not totally destroyed. One Giles KO, and one bank robbed.
Well, the coffee table gets called like DOA, or right? Or whatever.
Yeah. one vase and one coffee table, right?
Gone but not forgotten. Let's do weird noticings and trivia.
Weird noticings.
I don't own a house, so I don't know these things, but shouldn't they just be shutting off the water if they're having like that big of a leak down there? Like, that seemed to like the craziest thing to me in this whole episode is like they keep just having running water and like, oh, Giles, I'll just go to the sink and get a drink. It's like, also like, is that water like polluted? Like, you don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, that was insane. I agree. Like at the end when they go back into the basement and fight in it, there's still water flooding it.
Yes, that's not how you deal with flooding in your house. They're all going to have like mold and like disease, and they'll get electrocuted trying to run the laundry machine down there or something.
Do you think Tito's trying to take advantage of them somehow? Like,
I think what we found out this episode is like Buffy is going to run away from problems instead of dealing with them sometimes. And like, she's like, I prefer having running water to not. So think about that water bill, man. This is California. That shit's expensive.
Well, speaking of bills, the feeling that I get watching Buffy, knowing or seeing everyone kind of getting into her bill situation is just, overwhelming. Like, if you ever get into your bills, you're like, why would I want to share this with my friends? And there they are. All of them know everything about her debt problems, probably contributing to it.
Yeah.
You know, Tara and Willow living in her house, probably 100%. Not paying rent. And it's just like, whoa, guys.
Yeah, Willow being like, oh, this is a lot of money you owe, Buffy. Like,
yeah. All right, let's jump into this now because I feel like we're not gonna.
Oh, sorry. I guess this is
no. Let's do like Willow and Tara definitely have been spending Buffy's money while she's been dead.
Yeah,
Buffy's
and that's why she's in such debt.
From her mom's life insurance, like.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, they were taken care of. Done. I think there's there's that. But they're still living there, and they're just sitting there while Buffy freaks out about her bills, just sort of standing around being like, I don't know what you're going to do about this.
Yeah, none of them offer like, well, I guess, you know, Tara or Willow, like they could get a job. Like they don't offer that as a solution. Is Willow still going to school? What is going on here?
I think we're supposed to assume she's still taking classes.
Yeah.
But clearly, like, that dorm rent money should be going to Buffy. Like, we know explicitly now from this episode, because the bank loan officer is like, you have no income coming in. That means that there's no rent being paid to her.
Oh, right.
That does, yeah.
But it also could just not be declared, right? Like she could not be declaring it as income, which would probably be smarter for her in this case to like avoid taxes. So, I mean, really, like, why can't the magic shop partially subsidize this housing situation? I mean, they all have housing situations, but Anya's clearly running a successful magic shop. Can we just
really the Watchers Council are really they're the real main villain. Like, I can't believe there's no like life insurance policy on the Slayers, like for the dependents. There's a couple things like I just can't believe. I mean, that would be like a pension for the families of the Slayers.
Yeah.
Right. When they
die. To be fair to the magic shop, also, like, Anya is the only one who's actually like helping Buffy with the bills, like by organizing it for her, which is free labor, you know, with one of Anya's skill sets, right? Which is like organizing money.
And then, of course, there's the specter of the American medical system. Yep. Because the assumption is that the expenses were so high to, you know, take care of Joyce that that's where all the money went, right? Regardless of the size of the life insurance policy, which we assume she had on herself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, just, especially as a single mom, come on, you got to look out for your girls who has a fatal illness.
Yeah. And so, 20 years later, the commentary on the high price of American healthcare rings truer now. There are more medical bankruptcies now than there were in 2000 or 2001 when this was made.
They better sell that furniture and make some mortgage payments.
Well, it's also a little bit confusing because like there's no money from the art gallery. Like they couldn't liquidate the art gallery. But you're
I
right.
think Joyce was just an employee there, right? She didn't own the art gallery.
I thought it was her art gallery.
I feel like she had to start it up, and I don't know. I felt like she was really like a partner. Like that's what it seemed like.
Well, whatever pieces were in the basement are ruined now. That's all that I know.
Yeah, that's my retirement art.
It's like if you have a comic collection in the basement and then it gets flooded like that. That'd be terrible.
Didn't Joyce have any jewelry or anything like that?
Do you think there's any sort of witchy thing to turn, do you think that Willow and Tara could have done some spells to get all the bills, like, forgiven?
Yeah, we know that alchemy exists, right?
Yeah, we do. And there are levels of alchemy, right? Or there's level of witches, right? That's what
Yeah, there's witch levels. Certainly a high witch level means you can be an alchemist, right?
Certainly if you bring someone back from the dead, you could do some alchemy. Or like a forgetful spell to erase her debts.
I love the idea that doing magic is more like reasonable or like rational than just Willow getting a job.
Well, it seems more likely at this point.
Yeah.
Willow's not going to get a job.
Or trick the loan officer, right? Like some kind of spell that makes him want to give her a loan. But I guess this show is like, has really a strong, like a sharp line as far as monster world, human world. So
Right. Yeah, if they did that, Buffy and Willow would be criminals in the world of Buffy, right?
They might do that on Angel, though, but not in Buffy.
Unless they start Buffy investigations and charge on a case-by-case basis, which, I mean, it was amazing that they basically suggested that premise.
Yeah. I feel like it's ridiculous everybody got so upset with Anya for that, because it's this isn't like an unprecedented idea. It's literally what Angel has been doing for like 2.5 seasons now. Like everybody's
and
just
he's
like,
not even that good
I
at
roll
it.
at Anya. Like,
and it doesn't even really work. I mean, it's like, don't even like flip out. You just say you're charging people, but really, probably no one pays.
I mean, if Angel picks up the phone, they don't have to, no one gets charged. They really just have to protect him from the customer.
They just need to unplug his phone jack, right, in his office. Although, that's complicated. But also, I love like Chaos Buffy, who's like, they're like, you've got all these bills, and she's like, what are these pieces of paper sent from people we've never met? Like, she is like, I mean, we talk about Chaos Riley being great, but Chaos Buffy's like, let's burn this place to the ground and collect the insurance money. Like, her perspective after being resurrected is amazing. It's like modern, like this modern like idea of debt and all this stuff after I've saved the world a bunch of times is bullshit. It's like, I'm not going to worry about it, which is great. Like, it's a amazing, like, just kind of chaos.
Yeah. I love that scene. I love any time where like one character is just operating with a different level of energy than everybody else. Everyone else is like, this is somber and serious. And she's like, I've been dead for 3 months and now you want me to care about this. Like, I'm just going to be making jokes.
Yeah. And also like, Buffy is a very smart woman, but like there's like 5 or 6 people who have had 3 months to figure out the bills and they've done jack all on it. I mean, they're just terrible. It's like Buffy's solution is actually a solution. They haven't offered any solutions, but burning everything to the ground and collecting the insurance money is a solution.
Also, maybe just resurrect Joyce and have her deal with it, right? Like,
is that a prediction, Michael?
Yeah, we always talked about the emotional reasons to resurrect Joyce. We never talked about the financial issues of it. Yoder?
As Anya suggests that she should charge people for the services, then they bring up Spider-Man and say Spider-Man doesn't charge people, but he does. Peter Parker pays the bills by taking photos of Spider-Man, I would say. So
true.
So maybe, I don't know. YouTube doesn't exist in the time when Buffy is on right now, but she could be writing a blog or something, maybe make money.
My God. Save me from like Slayer influencer culture. God. Hey guys,
These are the
I'm
spikes
just
that I use,
out on
or
patrol
steaks
again.
I just got sent some steaks from tinyfences.com.
Unboxing. Yeah.
I love the quality of these steaks. They're just the right size. They're well sharpened. No splinters. I could really use these in a pinch. You can use my code. What is it? Slayer 98 or whatever. What would her code be?
Slayer Fest 98.
Yeah.
It's a monthly subscription service of, different kinds of steaks and things for the Slayer on the go.
This episode has yet more reminders how much of a Xander is a dick for not announcing the engagement. I can't believe this game is still going on 4 episodes now. This is a running gag of the most ridiculous proportions at this point. They're waiting for the right moment to announce their engagement. This feels like a problem I didn't experience because I did not get engaged in my early 20s. But I just can't imagine the imaginary pressure they're both experiencing right now, which is absurd. But yeah, Xander's a dick. I can't believe he's still doing this stuff.
Yeah. If you're ready to get engaged, you're ready to announce it, right?
The move Anya should do is just start wearing the ring until people ask about it. Like that's how you out it. Like, don't rely on Xander to be the one to tell everyone. Just fucking put on that ring and
that seems like a great way to start your marriage with not agreeing on the basic system.
I don't know. It's just like there's stupid TV trope things of we have to keep this a secret. I hate when you have to try to keep track of multiple secrets going on in a show.
I guess there are 2 secrets this season that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and it just didn't seem like Buffy used to be this kind of show where that was part of the the dynamic, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like managing multiple secrets. That could even have a count. How many secrets are we currently dealing with?
Yeah, because we did go a month between episodes, I was like, wait, does Michael know that Buffy wasn't in hell? I have to
Oh, right. You have to keep your secrets straight. In addition, there's that meta level of secrets.
Yeah.
It must be really tough, guys. Yeah, I guess we already kind of talked through this, but where's Dad? Couldn't he help with the cash as well? I mean, I know it's risky to reach out to Dad, but he probably knows a little bit more about your own finances than you do. Maybe not, actually. Anya might know more, but Dad could definitely help out. Maybe send a check every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless Dad doesn't exist, because Dawn does.
And this is another... And this is another problem with this show, which is more of an indictment about American culture, which is, asking for help. Buffy doesn't have the muscle, or neither do her friends, to literally just ask the world for help, right? Buffy reaching out to Dad would be asking for help, and you can't do that in our system. I mean, we see it happen all the time. At least lately, I feel like I've given to 3 Indiegogo campaigns for various medical problems people have had because our medical system bankrupts people. But that's people who have asked for help. And if everyone asked for help, I would try to donate if I could, but you just have to let people know that you need help. And we have such a guarded system that that implies it's shame. And that if you ask for help, that it's your last time you can ask for help. And are you cashing in all the goodwill you've ever had? You're absolutely not. In fact, if I give money, I'm way more invested in you and your success and all that. Anyway, that total aside, sorry. And then speaking of medical help, that super punch in the bank. Holy crap. That was After Effects 05 or something. That was amazing.
Yeah, there's just that 1 second pause between when she's up in the air and when she lands. That
did she go through the roof? What's the implication there?
Tall ceilings at this bank.
Yeah.
It was so goofy. I mean, it was not as extreme as some of the punches in the Superman movie, the Snyder Superman, but gosh darn it, that was just crazy. She should have her neck broken.
The demon who punched her, the Fashnik, as we later learn, has a very weird look. Just that satin shirt he's wearing is something strange. But he's played by Todd Stashwick, who played the demon Voka on Angel. He's the demon at the end of season 1 who wrecked Angel's life. And the super chin, the one that had that stupid mask that looked terrible and then had a rotting face. That same actor.
Thank you.
There's your little demon corner.
Oh. Okay, so my nerdiness is, if you watch the episode around 16 minutes 38 seconds to 16 minutes 40 seconds into the episode on Hulu at least, when Dawn is talking about the demon book and talking about, oh, that's a strange place for a horn. And Tara is like slightly out of focus, but she breaks and she starts smiling because she gets the joke. And then she has to quickly recompose her face. And then and then she becomes in focus again. So if you get a chance, like there's this really great moment where Tara breaks. And that's the only cut they had, I'm sure. So they must not have noticed it when they were filming.
I didn't notice while watching, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
I feel like it could have been an in-character break too, like you know.
It could have been, but I don't know why she recomposed really quick. So it felt like an accident. That's all I'm saying.
So speaking of this Mfashnik book, what happens is, as you mentioned, Dawn is flipping through it. She sees, oh, that's not a horn, and then she flips further through the same book and finds the picture of the Mfashnik. She holds it up to the screen to where you can read every word on that page. So thanks to Google Books, I found that the text there is actually from this book called Witchcraft, Magic, and Alchemy, which is a history of the occult written by Wimil Griot de Givry. I'm saying his name wrong. Frenchman. He wrote this book in the 1930s. It's a history of the occult. And what they did for this prop is they took his book, they took out one of his engravings and put in the picture of the Mfashnik. But what's kind of cool about this is so that if you go back, you can actually freeze frame and see the engraving, very small and blurry, but you can see the engraving that Dawn was looking at earlier when she saw the picture that wasn't a horn. And then you can flip back through the original book and find the engraving she was looking at. And the engraving she was looking at is credited in the book to Lucas Cranach. It's titled The Antichrist. And if you look down in the documents, number 4 there, it's that's the engraving as it appears in Witchcraft, Magic, and Alchemy. That engraving has also variously sometimes credited to someone else, to Michael Wohlgemuth, and I have a higher quality color version of it down there at the number 5. But both of these engravings were sort of like anti-Catholic propaganda. They were Lutheran stuff from the 15th century. And the Antichrist that it's referring to is supposed to be the Pope. So she's actually looking at anti-Catholic propaganda when she sees the thing that doesn't have a horn. It's pretty intense, actually. There are some demons in there. Yeah. I don't know if there's penises, but there are things that look like horns.
That is a strange place for a horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like demons. I always like demons with faces on their stomachs.
John, you have to put this into a blog post. This is incredible looking. I love this research. I mean, for listeners who can't see this illustration, you really, I hope this gets up on the blog because this is fantastic. I mean, it's so hard to comprehend what's going on, but it is multiple demons.
Yeah, they're sort of in the sky, and there's I think that's the Pope in the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's supposed to be having sex with the demons or fighting. I don't know. It's intense.
Yeah, it could be sex or fighting. I mean, it's tough.
It's all the same with demons, baby.
It's a good prop.
Yeah. Either way, the Pope's into it.
Yeah, that'd be a sick tattoo, though. That's a full back tattoo.
John, thank you as always for your intense research.
Oh, yeah. So Giles is back. Hey, that's amazing. And you know what? They achieved the rare thing that is so wonderful in this show where they get me to emotionally respond to things by showing Giles and Buffy kind of like having this brief reuniting. They're reuniting briefly, and it's so beautiful.
Wait, it's rare for this show or rare for your life for you to have an emotional response?
I mean, both. I guess for the show, I mean, it's not every episode that kind of does a thing for me. So that was really special. And so I rewatched this episode a couple of times. Both times.
Not Giles with the full range of human emotions?
I experienced the full range. Yeah, it was really lovely. And of course, this feeling gets drawn out and discussed in detail in this episode, but that was really special.
Yeah. During their brief little recap, Giles mentions almost making a new friend. And that's just one of those Well, here's a thread that like you can pull on and goes nowhere. Like, it definitely feels the set like a part of a setup for a story that we never hear.
It's just to relate to when you're feeling older, I guess. Yeah.
I think at this time they were talking about doing like a Giles spinoff, and it's kind of part of a setup for that. That never happened.
Right.
Do we have any scripts from the Giles spinoff from the Ripper show, whatever?
Oh, I don't know. Not that. I mean, we don't. I don't know if any are out. That'd be good to look into.
I like the idea of Giles fighting demons. He says in Bath, which is kind of a funny thing. That's not a very exciting place.
Is it the Sunnydale of England?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've never actually been there, but I don't think it's exciting.
Canterbury's Tales start.
Well, there's the wife of Bath, right?
Or that's one of the Canterbury Tales.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bath.
Then after our old friend Giles shows up, another old friend shows up.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan. That was so incredible to see Jonathan. And it's such a funky surprise. Like, I saw Yoder was going to be a guest on this episode. All right. So that's a clue. Something is afoot. But it doesn't mean Jonathan every time. But yes, it does. So the Jonathan like appearance is such a wonderful surprise, but also demented. I mean, it's such an interesting meta commentary immediately on this show, like the way that whole scene plays out. So I hope we discuss this scene a little bit. But I was just so excited to see Jonathan, but also like, what? Why? Why, Jonathan? Also, who are these jerks? Oh, wait, it's these jerks. And like they call him out, right? Because it's like our bot builder and our, hell dog, whatever, like manipulator.
Hey, that was his older brother.
Yeah, Tucker.
It's hard to find people to play D&D with sometimes, you got to take who you can get.
Can you imagine playing D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, if you've actually encountered like real life demons and stuff? And like, it's got to be like really kind of like hollow. Like, I feel like you would like really change the game mechanics if you knew that there were real demons and like real stuff.
Do demons play humans in hallways?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was good.
Actually, here, I'll put this in here. I found the, I don't know if you guys see that link. I found the exact D&D set that they were playing there.
Nice.
This is, I believe it's 3rd edition. Michael, you can confirm that for me. I don't really know much about D&D, but it's this specific 3rd edition set called The Adventure Begins Here. It's sort of a beginner's set.
Dude, all this stuff looks fun.
So Jonathan and Warren we've seen before. We obviously have a long history with Jonathan, and Warren we know from season 5. But Andrew is new. He's the brother of Tucker, who we met back in season 3. But the actor is not new to Buffy. Tom Lenk played a vampire who is a member of Harmony's gang in the second episode of season 5.
That's right.
So this is his second appearance.
My understanding was that they wanted this character to be Tucker, but they couldn't get that actor. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that's why they created this brother character?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the actor who played Tucker is the singing voice for Aladdin, and I think has more of a musical career than an acting career, from what I understand.
Wow. I didn't get any of that from this scene.
So the demon comes back from the bank job, whatever it was, and he's demanding his payment, which he says is Buffy's head. But like, that wasn't really, it doesn't seem like that was established before they went into the job. But I was kind of surprised Warren didn't just have like a spare, like prototype Buffy bot head that he could give the demon to be done with him or something.
Yeah, the Mfashnik's position in this negotiation is inconsistent and illogical, which is fine. He's a demon, but because at first he's like angry. He's like, you pitted me against the Slayer. And then later he's like, here's the Slayer's address. You go kill her. And he's like, great.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but how are you going to reason with an Mfashnik?
I don't know if you guys caught, but I caught it on the second watch through that they show hands grabbing the money out of the bank, but they don't show who it is. So I'm pretty sure the guys, they were there at the bank robbery. They just got away without being seen. So that was kind of interesting. But
yeah, the demon was just a distraction for their robbery.
I mean, it worked. It was great. I mean, everyone, high fives all around.
We're about to jump into some Giles stuff. But I get why Buffy feels like she can't tell Willow or anyone else. But like every time I watch this episode, I really wish she would confide in Giles about like that she wasn't in hell, you know?
Right.
I just wish that happened and it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense if you think about, maybe I'm jumping ahead to some deep stuff here, but I think Buffy's whole thing is she can't tell people who care about her because Buffy she's in this kind of headspace, this kind of depressed headspace where she doesn't care about her own happiness because she doesn't have access to feelings, but she does weirdly care that other people will be worried about her. And so it's sort of because it would make Giles upset that she doesn't tell him, I think. So it makes a kind of sense, but I agree with you. Like,
I mean, I'm not saying like this is a flaw in the episode. I'm just saying it's an emotional thing I wish would happen.
Yeah, agree.
I feel like Travis and Mike and the rest of us maybe have very different opinions about what happens next.
I'll let the pro Giles group present.
Oh, right, because this is an argument with
so you
clear
can have
winners
the
and
last
losers.
word, Travis? Is that what you mean?
I can have the first word or the last word, but it's going to be the best word in the way, brother. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll go. So, I mean, let's just think, first off, I agree with what John said about Buffy not telling, but also let's also objectively think here. Here's a guy who is your watcher, watches you die, and then he cuts town. Right? When you still have a baby sister to be taken care of, no money coming in, right? Mounting debt. And so I wouldn't tell that guy, I would only tell that guy to get lost again.
Yeah.
Oh, so you left right after I died and didn't take care of my kid sister? Okay, well, thanks a lot. Secondly, Giles acts extremely condescendingly towards Willow, extremely, calling her a rank amateur. And let me tell you one thing. Guys who skip town don't get to have an opinion about stuff that happens once they skip town. That's my opinion. I'm a guy too, but I'm just saying anyone, man, woman, skips town, don't come at me with what you would have done, because guess what? You weren't effing around, brother.
This seems like a Maury Povich episode all of a sudden.
Hold up. Let me get the mic for 1 second.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
So Giles, like, he doesn't, that Willow deliberately withheld the magic spell. Like, she didn't share that. And Giles was around while she was working on that spell, right? Like, she's working on some evil shit, and she doesn't include anyone who she knows will try and stop her, and that includes Giles. So Giles wouldn't have had information or knowledge that she was planning to resurrect Buffy. I'm not clear on the relationship between Giles as a father figure to Dawn as being any kind of real responsibility. There's certainly no legal responsibility. He's not connected to that family in a legal way. What you're talking about is like what would be decent or good behavior, but it's not. There's no legal obligation. It's moral.
It's a moral obligation. He in many ways is her father figure. He protects Dawn, and he just skips town. All right, my watcher's dead, or my Slayer's dead.
My watch is over.
Yeah.
I don't think he has any legal responsibility.
It's a huge.
I feel. Can I just be a little bit of a regulator here? Is like you guys are arguing about Dawn right now, but to me the issue is Willow,
right,
and the resurrection. So let's stay on that topic. Now continue.
I love this scene because I like Willow getting confronted because she never gets confronted because she's always so good, and even when Tara confronts her, Tara doesn't have the strength to counter Willow. She basically like, look, I'm not so smart as you. I'm not going to be able to convince you of anything. Willow just does what she wants. But Giles is someone that Willow really looks up to and is a mentor, father figure for the whole gang, of course. But that really hurts her, and she gets so defensive so fast. And I love that because I recognize that in myself. I recognize that defensive character so much, which is well, actually, what I did was pretty amazing if you think about it. I just love that whole scene because she does need to be confronted about that issue, and everyone's kind of skittering around it as far as the resurrection and what that means. It should be a good thing, right? And we hint at the meaning of that, and it was great to just have that finally said to her in like in a confrontational way. And the fact that Giles just walks away is like, he can't win this conversation. Like there's nothing to win. It's like you did something that's bad. It doesn't get to be good again because you tricked me with words. Like it's always bad. And I like that a lot. And it felt like a really real confrontation. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I kind of see both sides of this. I feel like, I agree with you, Michael. I think it's really way overdue that somebody confronts Willow, because Willow has long been like the smartest and least mature in the group. But then like on the other hand, Travis, I think you're right. Giles, as like, unfortunately, it's a shit position to be in, to be the adult in the room, to be the only adult in like a friend group of a bunch of 19-year-olds. That's got to be horrible because it's so much responsibility. But then if you walk out on it, you can't go back and yell at everybody. Yelling at Willow, like he knew what Willow was going to do. Like if you know Willow, I feel like this was almost predictable.
You think Giles is head in sanding about what Will was going to do?
I mean, I think it's in general. Like, I mean, like Travis is saying, just leaving this like 14-year-old girl in the custody of a bunch of kids who are like not going to avail themselves of social services.
That's true.
Like that seems super irresponsible and ridiculous now that I think about it. And then to come back and be like, you shouldn't have done this thing that actually I'm kind of glad turned out really well. It does feel like he's got himself to blame to some degree.
Yeah. I do feel like there's this weird thing that happened kind of a little bit season 5, but very distinctly season 6, where the characters basically should have jumped ahead in age and they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, because the show lost interest in, it's like we've been playing adolescence for so long. Like, let's now do real life, adult life is hell instead. And the characters are still 20. The actors look like they're in their late 20s because they are, or even 30s. And the things they're dealing with now are more, like, and some people in their 20s do have to deal with this stuff, but they're more typically older stuff. So it almost feels like a thing the show should have done and be like 4 years later.
Yeah.
But they can't do that. Like that structure doesn't exist yet for shows.
Counterpoint. Counterpoint. I mean, I have to say that Giles was very much in mansplain mode. Like I back 20 years ago, I wouldn't have understood that mansplain phrase, but he's telling her about how dangerous things are, how she's an amateur, how she doesn't want to meet the people who can do what she does. I mean, it's very much like, let me explain to you what you did and why you did it was wrong. And it's not that the thing with Giles is he really reprimands her, but the message is mixed. Someone should be like, these are very dangerous magics, Willow, right? But the way he comes at Willow is like, you're an amateur, you don't know what you're doing, and these magics are very dangerous. So when I get when the message from Giles is like, you shouldn't have done this because you're too mature and you can't handle the power and it's bad, but not like, hey, you're really powerful now. Can I talk to you about like what to do and what not to do as a powerful witch? Like that's a different way to address the issue rather than addressing her as an immature young girl. So I didn't like that, the way he was coming at her. But again, I'm unchanged. If I saw Giles walk in the door and be like, she'd be like, I would have been like, nice to see you. When you going back to England, buddy? I mean, I'm cold blooded like that. You cross me once, it's like gone. I mean, that guy would have been gone. I would have kicked that guy out of the house and be like, you left this. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah.
I think Giles had a couple of good points though. That like the group haven't really like latched onto yet just because they're not thinking about it. That he realized like we don't know where Buffy was or what she's been through like before she came back here. Like everyone has just been assuming that she went to hell, but like Buffy hasn't really said anything, directly about that. I think Giles is the only one that's picked up on that so far.
All right. I feel like this topic has been well discussed, guys. Good jobs on all sides. No opinions have been changed, but thoughts have been provoked.
Like many a debate.
let's hear what the audience has to say when this episode airs. All right, Yoder.
Well, it was Michael's quote that he picked out, but right after Dawn comes down to suggest mixing cereals, Giles gets knocked out by the demon showing up at Buffy's house, and it's just like, yeah, now we're watching Buffy. Giles just got knocked out. Okay.
That old classic. All right, why don't you jump into your fashion corner you got here?
All right, I've got, I guess, the next couple points, but Dennis, you've already pointed out the demon shirt, his satin shirt. I think I'd change his name to Fashion. How about that? What's going on with Dawn's shirt? It's got like a dreidel on it with a number 2 or something. It looks kind of like red, yellow, and blue, like a Superman shield. Very confusing. What are you doing, Dawn? And then Buffy's skirt, more like a very long dress that she has to alter. Love the alterations. And then Andrew, the nerd in the group that had the attack on the Romeo and Juliet play, I guess.
Yeah. Run, Juliet!
It took me a while to figure out what his cartoon alien reading a comic book was from.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to ask you about that.
I was pretty sure it was a Dan Clowes drawing, and I kept doing Google Images Google Images for like shirts and also drawings of like alien reading a comic book, and I was just like, I couldn't come up with anything. And then I finally realized, like, oh, it's just an 8-ball shirt. Like, it's, I think, just like an 8-ball logo shirt that he made. And that may be like something that's actually worth a decent amount of money if it would have stayed in good condition, like as a prop from the show.
Let's do another dive into these details of the nerd layer then.
And then, we got our nerd trio. So Jonathan's setting up the case with all the action figures. Those are like, I think like the first line of McFarlane toys is what it looks like. Spawn is very clear, but I think you can see some other ones in the background. There's the whiteboard with their like list of plans of things. And like one thing that really stood out to me watching it, and Dennis, you kind of called out on this on the character's age, them like having fake IDs on there is like a goal. Like it just, these guys seem so Arrested Development, like what their age is supposed to be. Like, I guess in the show they are 19, 20, but like if you're 20, are you really like, you can't just like find an older friend or something like any,
you've held off this long on getting a fake ID.
Yeah. And they're definitely spending a lot of their money on video games, it looks like. Dennis, you had an observation about that too.
John answers the questions, but I was like, what video game is that?
It looks like, they were playing, like you said, John.
For sure.
Not GoldenEye. Similar game called The Operative: No One Lives Forever. It's another James Bond inspired FPS from that era. Thanks to the Buffy Wikia for figuring that out.
Okay. I was more confused by the controller that Warren has at the end. Looks like a PS2 controller, but it's like wireless, it looks like, maybe. And then he's got that VR helmet, and there's like not really, at that time, like VR games.
They built their own VR.
Oh, okay.
But they can't make a fake ID. Pro tip from Oakwood. Just remember to spell license correctly.
And to know what your birth date is on your fake ID, I guess, and your address, probably. Anyway, that's the main takeaways from their nerd layer.
They also, if you look really carefully, they have 2 identical unopened sets of koosh paddles. Remember koosh balls and those little like ping pong paddles that were like stretchy? They have 2 unopened box sets of those. And they also, the periscope that Warren pulls down, apparently this is also from the Buffy Wiki. This is not my observation. It says something on it in Russian. And if you look at the Cyrillic letters, apparently if you read those out phonetically, it spells geek. But it also is what happens if you type USSR on a Cyrillic keyboard. You get those, like, if you miss. Yeah. So, who knows?
All right. That is some good noticings and trivia. So let's move on to questions for the group.
Questions for the group.
Okay, I guess I have the first one of these. I think we discussed this a little bit already, but how would or should Buffy go about charging for slaying? And also, why can't she?
Yeah, why can't she? Honestly, it seems fine to me. I think you do it via like an invoice system after the fact.
And what if they don't pay it? Are you going to unsave them?
That's when you got your own muscle. You got your own enforcement.
You know what she should do is do the Frighteners model, like the Michael J. Fox movie, and just have Spike go like attack people, and then like she's like, "Oh, I heard you have a vampire problem." Like he doesn't actually do anything to them, but then and then she gets rid of him, and then they pay her. That's my suggestion.
My suggestion is like using a mob-based protection racket. Like I think that the businesses in the wharf and the like near the Bronze should pay her like a protection fee. Like, you know, I mean, God knows the Bronze should have her on retainer. I mean, how many times that place gotten totaled? Like, it's got to be cheaper to pay Buffy. I mean, I guess even with Buffy, that place gets totaled frequently, but.
Right, because she could even be like running the bouncer, whatever, like be the bouncer outside, like just be totally in charge of security for the Bronze and all Sunnydale. She should have a security firm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do vampires carry cash? Like I know they live in crypts and things, but maybe she should just rob them before their money gets dusted, you know. And, or if their money falls to the ground, it would be like Scott Pilgrim, where you just like pick up the coins after they're defeated, right?
Yeah, it's the video game system of making money. I just got to punch more guys.
Technically, if Angel had invested his money better, I think he would have helped her out.
That's something I don't get, like vampires being around for like so long and then not having a source of like money. Like what? like you're just like you're doing what I'm doing on a week by week basis for like 100 years or more. Like what?
Yeah, it sounds like a terrible eternity.
Think ahead, like come on.
Listen, they don't all start off as counts.
Oh, like yeah, from Sesame Street.
I was thinking Dracula.
Okay.
Sesame Street too.
Yeah, so many of these vampires look like they have their shit together, but that's just inherited wealth. They don't know shit about shit.
Yeah. Have you guys watched any of the Netflix Dracula series?
No.
I just finished that this week. There's kind of, to do a little bit of a spoiler thing, there's a kind of funny thing. In the third episode, they jump ahead to like present time, and Dracula's had the same law firm on retainer for like 200 years. Like, well, technically it's not illegal to be this old.
Also, client, confidentiality, they probably couldn't say anything, right?
So, if you got the money, the world opens up for you. Yoder, I like your next question.
Okay, so here's the deal. You just robbed a bank. You're sitting on a pile of cash. You got rid of that demon that's on your back, by having it go fight some neighborhood slayer lady. What are you going to put on your magic dream vision whiteboard of what you want to accomplish next?
Are we going to use the money, or are we going to use like our magic-y powers?
The world is your oyster. You can do...
So, like, is this a similar question to, like, you win the lottery, what do you do?
Yeah, it's just like...
Yeah. Or is this like, but
where
also
do you go
you're
from there?
Like a techno wizard. Rocket
Yeah,
packs.
you're part of the nerd crew, which I don't know if they have a better name than that yet, but yeah. What would you suggest for the whiteboard?
So my go-to for like the like lottery question is always like, I'd probably start up some sort of like comic publishing, which is not super like fantasy, like a rocket pack, but that's probably how I would spend like a large sum of money.
I mean, I have so many dumb ideas. I mean, this is really overwhelming. It's like start my own airline.
Whoa.
Reduce number of like accidents by car. So try to make cars illegal, and then like demolish all the wealthy property in the state and replace it with like multifamily units. I mean, those are my first three in my world domination board.
That's pretty good.
Make cars illegal would be. This is really high on the list.
Spend a lot of money promoting a fan podcast.
That's a good idea.
Just like buy a Super Bowl ad for Buffy Virgin.
Oh my God.
We're the #1 Buffy podcast. What's up now, buffering?
Oh, and then you got to have like live forever ? Just somewhere on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd go on vacation with my family. Pay off my student loans and go on vacation. Then I'll figure things out from there.
Yeah, travel the world. That seems like a good one. Like, why? They're just like, let's take over Sunnydale. Like, that's such like a low bar like goal. It seems like.
You know, it feels like those guys don't need fake IDs. They need fake passports, or just like a real passport on that whiteboard. They need to think bigger.
Yeah, take a year off. There you go.
Maybe Warren would just be like, get back to where I was before my robot girlfriend went crazy or whatever. Like his life seemed okay when he had a human girlfriend and like, you know, he was in college for robotics or whatever it was. And
yeah, did he drop out of college?
Why he didn't have to drop out of college?
He's living with his mom now. It seemed like he was like farther away before, you know, like he came back to Sunnydale. So I don't know.
It looked like, yeah, that makes no sense.
All right. I think that's all the questions we got. So let's do themes and deep stuff. And Yoder,
this was kind of a joke one, but yeah, it's just this episode. It's about debt, money problems. It's funny. I feel like we've had conversations about like stuff around this a lot in other episodes, like especially since you know, Buffy's mom passed away. So it's just interesting to get the episode where the show finally addresses it. Like, yeah, how are they paying for things? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to add to this, or like we've definitely talked a lot about it during the other segments?
The only other debt to add would be the debt that will need to be repaid because of reviving, you know, Buffy. But that's another kind of debt that will have to be repaid in some way. But that's not specifically addressed, I guess, in this episode. So we're talking more about like literal debt, transactional debt. But I guess themes of responsibility, adulthood and responsibility here. We're calling out Giles for his lack of responsibility, but I think everyone shares a lot of irresponsibility in this episode.
I do like it. I feel like with Buffy at the very end of the episode where Giles is like, okay, let's just sit down and like work on this for a second before you leave. And she's like, nope, I'm going.
And is there no actual scene in Angel? Like it seems like it's such setting up of like, hey, watch Angel next.
Yeah, but they're on different networks now, so there's like less interaction.
It was a very weird end to the episode. I felt like what?
I looked on the Buffy Wikia, and they said there's a comic book that deals with the events that take place called Reunion. So there's a comic book we could read at some point. It came out in like 2002.
Yeah, I've read that comic, and it's not super interesting.
Not great, yeah.
And it doesn't actually reveal what happens. What happens is it's everybody guessing about what happened, which is super weird. That like Xander and Willow would be like, I think they kissed.
What?
But then what happens is every time they start telling this story, a demon attacks, and it turns out it's like a story demon that's gotten in their heads, and then Buffy has to fight it. But they never reveal what really happens.
Weird.
I bet what happened was Angel tried to tell her, this is how I make money, and then Buffy was like, no, I won't do that. And we're like,
I bet she told Angel that she was in heaven. That's my bet.
That seems kind of mean, since Angel did go to hell, to be like, well, I was in heaven.
But, I mean, he's a dude who could relate to coming back and everything.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, she could probably tell him the truth. If there's one person in the world, she could tell the truth.
If she can tell Spike, she can tell Angel.
Yeah.
That's been Themes and Deep Stuff. Let's do recommendations.
Recommendations.
I recommend the Tom Hanks Shelley Long movie, The Money Pit.
Oh, there you go.
For those who didn't grow up in the 90s when this was on cable TV every single day, they're a young couple who buys a very large, expensive looking but cheap house, and then it turns out to just be falling apart. I feel like Buffy could watch this movie right now and really relate. I also feel like Shelley Long could be related to Buffy. They have like similar acting characteristics. She could be, the aunt that gets mentioned every now and then but never seen. Also, because of a flooding basement, I am going to recommend the Lucio Fulci movie, The Beyond. Woman inherits a hotel. It's got a flooded basement, and also Door to Hell. I might have recommended The Beyond before because it does have a door to hell. It's a really good movie. But, I was just thinking about flooded basements. So those are my two recs.
I could recommend that Gator movie. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
But
Crawl.
Crawl?
Yeah, from last year. Yeah, that's a good
Gator
one.
Movie.
I was expecting that to be
flooded basement filled with gators. Yeah, we'll add that one to the list. All right. Why don't we do predictions?
Virgin predictions.
Okay, Michael, at present, you have an overall accuracy of 61.88. Your accuracy currently in season 6, however, is at a 69.23, presently making season 6 your second most accurate season ever. You could possibly catch up to season 2's 75%, depending on how this goes. Let's see what happens. In season 4, episode 17, you said that people will remember when Jonathan was center of the universe. And there's a moment here where Jonathan makes a reference to it.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that I believe Warren sort of nods and smiles a lot, like he knows what he's talking about. So I think that Jonathan remembers and Warren remembers. That's people. It's two people. So I think we can go ahead and call that one confirmed. Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll give it to him. It is a very blatant. I mean, it's a reference. So
yeah,
I feel like arguing it at this point would be just being a dick. So I'll let it go.
I'm amazed at all the acknowledgments and the self-reflection, Dennis. That's great.
Okay. In the same episode, Michael, you predicted that Jonathan would keep the mansion from Superstar. Doesn't seem like Jonathan has kept the mansion. Seems like he has lost the mansion.
Oh my God.
We don't know for a fact, but I don't think they'd be hanging out in Warren's basement, Warren's mom's basement, if they had
the mansion got flooded. They had to sell it. So
I'm going to go ahead and deny that one. So that's one confirmed, one denied so far. Zooming ahead to season 6, episode 1, Michael, you predicted that Giles isn't leaving the show in season 6. So Giles does come back this episode, but he's not yet on the intro credits. So I don't know. Is he back?
I feel like this is one of those things we should have demanded more specifics from Michael.
Yeah, so he said he isn't
100%
leaving
would
the
have
show.
Obliged and made it very specific.
Yeah, and
Are you kidding me?
He isn't leaving the show. He's not on but he's not a regular. He's not on the opening
He's not
credits.
a regular anymore.
Yeah, he's considered
but
a
he's
guest
on
star.
the show. So
has he left the show? Has he not left the show?
I mean, wait till Travis gets back here and then see
I
what
think
he
we
says.
should.
I think Travis is purposely leaving during the segment that makes him angry.
Oh, that's likely.
Fine. We can give it to him.
Okay,
fine.
Giles is back.
The Giles is back.
Giles technically is back.
Well, we are going to give you this. You did say
you could keep it open.
In the past, in the last episode, Giles will return in season 6, episode 4. Giles did return in season 6, episode 4. That clearly happened. So that's confirmed. And I guess the question is Giles still leaving the show since he's not a series regular anymore?
I mean, not only is he off the title cards, I mean, I'd say he's not likely to be put back on the title cards.
Yeah. He doesn't have his own place in Sunnydale.
Yeah.
I guess this is all true. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Well, what is leaving the show? What is leaving the show?
Oh my gosh. This is such semantic, argument that, of course, you could have predicted. Instead, you chose this moment to make this an issue. So, defining
it's
what...
It's not the right moment to make this an issue, I agree. But just, if you think about it, okay.
All right, you know what we should do? We should go back to season 6, episode 1, and watch what Mike said and why he said it.
I don't want to do that.
Well, no, Giles left. He's coming back. He came back. He's back on the show. Now you're saying he's no longer a series regular, that he's not going to be in every episode and he's off the title cards. Well, I think he's going to be in more episodes of season 6. Now, if you define series regular as someone that appears in the title credits, I'm not sure about that. But sometimes Jonathan is in the title credits. But I think that's a very tricky place to define series regular, because Jonathan, I would say, is not a series regular and he is a special guest. So
Can you? Are you allowed to change predictions after they've been made?
No.
Well, Jesus Christ!
I agree.
Because it sounds like the sentiment of the prediction should just be Giles will be on the show. Giles hasn't left the show. He will still be on the show.
All right, so it sounds like you're
maybe
voting,
just not at regular intervals.
Confirm, Mike,
or just maybe I don't know.
I'm just going to confirm
the series finale to address all the open predictions.
The only reason you're doing this because you know you can win the point, because you know that later, he's not going to come back in the title cards, and that his place in the show is not as big as it once was. So you guys know that. And so that's how you think you can get the point. But you know he's going to be on enough episodes that it will be an ongoing stupid battle.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's just confirm it so that it is not an ongoing stupid battle.
Okay. So I believe
faith is a monster.
Let's not let friendships be ruined over this.
Faith is a monster. Is Giles back on the show? No one knows. I mean, he was in this episode, but is he on the show really? I mean, existentially.
He's here, but is he really present? I don't feel like he's...
Travis, you came back just in time.
Reparations point.
Okay, yes.
No, we've moved on without you. So your new overall accuracy is moved up to a 61.75, whereas your accuracy for this season is now at a 70.59, moving in the right direction, moving up.
So you didn't have any outstanding Warren predictions or anything?
I could try to find them, but I don't believe so. No predictions dealing with Warren ever been made. As far as I
did not believe Warren would be back on the show. This is all a surprise. This little basement cabal.
We held it. We didn't tell you.
You should lose points for that.
For not guessing that this crew would form into a nerd squad. What are they called together? Are they a group? Just call them Jonathan Company, or what do you call them?
Don't know. Maybe you could predict what their name will be.
I don't want to play that game. That's unwinnable. But I'm going to call them Jonathan and Company, because I have predictions about Jonathan and Company, because clearly they're going to be around for a few episodes, which will be delightful. Jonathan and Company will attempt hypnosis on Buffy. That's my first prediction. Is there any confusion about what attempting hypnosis is? I mean, if it succeeds, that's still an attempt. Okay? Right. They will... But I don't want to say they hypnotize. Just hypnosis seemed like a funny thing to try and do. And if it fails instantly, which I hope it does, that'll be a blast. I think Buffy is in desperate need of this cash they got. So Buffy is going to get Jonathan and Company's cash. Duh. That's such an obvious setup. If they discuss a pile of cash in a show where someone is overwhelmed with debt, that cash has to come in their position. There's no way. Possession. Buffy, however, will give Jonathan and Company's cash back to the bank. Wrongs will be righted. There's just no way she can actually use the cash. And then there is no debt forgiveness spell. This is I just want to put that out there. No debt forgiveness spells. They don't exist, because otherwise we would have dealt with them. But it seems like such an obvious thing to use. And then I believe Giles will forgive Willow for reviving Buffy in season 6. He will say, Willow, I'm sorry. Some effect that she is forgiven for reviving Buffy.
And Willow will say, "Get out and never come back." Right, Travis? Isn't that what she'll say?
I don't know.
She'll be like, one of these I don't accept your apology.
Do you have questions about what forgiveness is?
No,
what it means to forgive someone?
I get it.
No, I'm genuinely asking here.
I predict that we will get into a discussion about whether or not Giles has forgiven her at a certain point, unless he says like, "I forgive thee."
Okay.
But I don't think there's anything you can do to make that more clear.
Oh, good.
I think we're just
sounds like there is
bound for an argument.
Okay, great. Future argument.
Mike, do you have a prediction about Giles's maybe friend that was mentioned in this episode?
Oh, in Bath? Yeah. Giles doesn't have any friends. We're not going to be these people.
Do you have a super prediction?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we'll never meet Giles's friend in Bath. Super. We will never meet another friend of Giles. We never meet Giles' friend in Bath.
Giles has no friends.
Giles doesn't take baths.
Giles has no friends. Boom. Lots of smiles there, so that one's messed up or wrong or confusing.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe we're just happy people. I don't know.
Doubt it. Doubt it.
Michael, I see you've kind of promoted some stuff recently on YouTube.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I've just produced a few different videos. One of which is public, which is exciting because sometimes you produce videos for companies and like it's not really like something to promote, but did some work with this company Algo, which is like a Yelp-like app for people of size. And one of these videos about chair awareness, which sounds like an absurd topic unless you're of size, in which case chairs with arms hurt people. So this is a short video we did. It was like a research oriented video talking with a group of people, all people of size with different experiences, like with furniture, like whether they buy furniture for hotels, offices, etc. And we kind of went and tested a bunch of chairs and got feedback from people of size about how you would select chairs. And it's not like, the most amazing, video in some ways, but it's such a simple topic. And often we choose chairs when we purchase office furniture or furniture for restaurants based on aesthetic choices and not on the people that will sit in them. And if 30% of chairs didn't have arms, literally people of size could go there. 95% of people with size have anxiety before they go to new places based on furniture. Also judgment of other people, but like furniture choices is one of the big sources of anxiety. So that's the video that I produced that I've been tweeting about. And then I broke my drone, and that's another video that I just made.
Although I noticed a drone shot in the chair video that I was like, I know the background of that shot.
Right. You know that I owned a drone until last week.
Aw.
It's getting repaired on Monday. So, I've got my meeting with the Best Buy Geek Squad.
Is Warren working on it, or?
Unfortunately, no. It's Andrew.
No.
There's a high chance the person at Best Buy will have never heard of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Ooh, let's do a bet on that.
Yeah, that's a super prediction if I ever heard one.
Bring out Buffy. Mention Warren.
Oh, they'll say Buffy. Oh, is that an animated show? Yeah, that's what I expect.
All right. I IRL want this to happen so we can bet on this.
Okay, sure. Then I'll ask. This is tomorrow night, 8:20. You have until 8:20 tomorrow night to put in your bets whether or not the clerk at Best Buy is aware of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I feel like we're all betting the same, but except for Michael.
We bet he is. Or she, they. We bet they are.
All right. I'm betting against.
All right. I like these odds. Okay, Yoder, what are you doing these days? Where can people find your stuff?
I don't know. I'm not putting much out there, but it's a pleasure to be on your show, reading some comic books. I tweet occasionally. Awesome Yoder on the Twitter.
You've been promoting Jonathan.com this whole episode.
Yeah, well, that's that site's kind of in flux right now, but, get it up and running soon here. Just got to work on some spells.
Awesome. And folks can find me at Dennis Comics. That's DENISCOMIX. That is my Twitter, my Instagram, and my .com. And thank you one and all for visiting, listening, and talking to us at Buffy Virgin. Don't forget, please rate, review, subscribe, give us a like, give us a tickle. You can watch us on YouTube. Our Twitter is at Buffy Virgin Pod. Our Instagram is at Buffy Virgin. for monster drawings and probably photos of the anti-pope or whatever, the Antichrist. I'll post that picture. Sorry.
Anti-pope.
Sorry, Anti-Pope is from the new Sabrina show. Sorry, I got mixed up. All right. Thank you for reaching out. We love to hear from you, and we'll see you in hell.